are back, YouTube. For anyone who's returning, thank you, and for everyone who's new, welcome. I'm Mitch, and this is Retro Rummage. I'm going to game my channels buying games, DVDs, Blu-rays, any electrical items I get my hands on at car boot sales, Facebook Marketplace or charity shops for a cheap price. So I'm getting traded into CX at a high price so I can build my gaming collection. So yeah, back with just a topical conversation video today. Obviously, I've done a video a week or so ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago now, depending on when you're seeing this, and talking about digital media and stuff like that, and it sparked a conversation in the comments, and I've been thinking about this with my own collection for what we're about to speak about for a while now, and I thought I had a good reaction from that, so I'd maybe do a video to do with this as well. And yeah, it boils down to manuals with games. Now, like everyone else, I'm sitting on the computer, having a look through CEX, seeing what's news come into stock, what's out of stock, if there's anything that takes my fancy. And I'm looking at the price differences between with manual and without manual on the games, especially like on the PlayStation 1 and older kind of games, and some of the price differences are crazy, like more than double what it would be than with manual than what it would be without, and stuff like that. And I've always been at the type of, since I've started collecting, I don't know why, I've just said, right, I want the manual with everything. That's a standard that I've set myself, and I know that a lot of collectors out there set that standard for themselves. But, are we crazy? Because why are we paying all this extra money for manuals? Because I've got my two shelves up there. I put some footage over now of the games that are up there, but they're like that's my PlayStation 1 shelf, where I kind of show off most of my expensive PlayStation 1 games. And I went through that shelf on CEX and looked at the price differences between with and without manual, and I thought, obviously I knew it would be more money for with manual, but I was absolutely shocked at what the value is compared to with and without manual, which I'll go over in a moment. But yeah, I was sitting there thinking, do I really need? I could have so many more games in my collection if I wasn't fussed with regards to it coming with a manual. And that's another thing as well, trying to get games with manuals, with vouchers that come into stock within CX is very, very difficult now. But there does tend always to be a version without manual for a lot cheaper. And I'm thinking, I could just buy that game without manual, get it for nearly half the price in some instances, and have it straight away. Whereas I'm sitting here waiting for months and months for a version to come in with manual. And yeah, it's really like opened my eyes to thinking, why do I collect video games, and is it worthwhile? Really, digging your heels in about wanting to get a manual. Because there was, I was watching another YouTuber recently, and again, I'm really sorry, I always forget people's YouTube name, but he was kind of giving me, for anyone who watches, I think it's Metal Jesus Rocks, he's like an American YouTuber, but he's like a younger English version of him. And anyway, he bought a copy of 10,000 Bullets on the PlayStation 2. And he paid £75 for it without manual. Now I know with manual that game's £150, and he was explaining, in the video, saying that he's not fussed about with manual. He can get an expensive, still £75 for a PlayStation 2 game is still expensive, but he can get a much more expensive game for cheaper, and he's able to play it. Which makes perfect sense. Obviously, if it's a bonus, if it's got the manual. But why would anyone in their right mind pay 75 quid for a manual? And I do it all the time. And yeah, it's just really, it's really making me question my collecting habits. And I've recently said about games getting more and more expensive, even in comparison to when I first started collecting games just a couple of years ago. And I'm thinking now, moving forward, these games that are like £300-400, should I just get the version without the manual? Because let's have it right. Unless the only time that I've ever really needed to look in the manual is for fighting games, because that's where all of the moves are for the characters. Obviously, that's historically. I know now you can just go on the internet and search it, so you wouldn't even need it for that. But all of the manuals that I've got, I've never once had to look in and think, oh, hang on a minute, what do I need to go into that for? So yeah, the question today is, do you collect with or without manuals, and why? Because I can't give you a why. The reason that I do it is because it's a standard that's been set by the gaming community that, well, if you're a serious collector, you collect with manual. And if you want a proper version, then it's going to have the manual. It's this whole completing box standard that has been set, and that's what everyone's aiming for. But it just doesn't make sense. So yeah, I mean, going back to my PlayStation 1 shelves up there, I've had to write it down because I want to give you the specific numbers, not just ballpark figure or whatever. So of the games that I've got up there, 27 in total. If you was to buy these from CEX, this is obviously just their retail price. I'm not going by eBay price or anything, or whatever, but their retail price would be £3,968 for with manual. If you wanted to buy those 27 games without manual, that's £2,614. That's a difference of £1,354. So I've spent £1,354 on paper, which is absolutely mental. You think of all of the games that I could buy. And sorry, that's just for those 27 games there. Obviously, behind those, there's games stacked. I've got my shelves over there, and I've also got a shelf there as well. I've got and games down there as well. I've got much more games than that. But for just those 27 games, I've spent nearly £1,400. Well, I haven't spent that because I've done it with vouchers. But if you wanted to, you'd be looking at spending an extra £1,400 for paper, which is absolutely crazy. And I'm not blaming CEX for this, because this 100% isn't CEX's fault. This is our fault as collectors. And them doing it in such a wide difference between with and without manual is actually doing true gamers a favour. Because I mean, for example, I've got two games here which stand out in the sense that, so Mega Man Legends 2, with manual, this is £190 in CEX. Without manual, it's £90. So from what I can gather, from those 27, this is the most expensive manual. So the manual for this, which is there, will cost you £100. That's £100. So that in itself costs more than the case and the game, which is crazy. And then Klonoa, I believe this is in terms of how much the game's worth and what they charge without it, is the biggest in terms of percentage, I think. I'm not great at maths, so you'll have to excuse me. But yeah, Klonoa Beach Volleyball is £115 with manual. Without, it's £50. So that's £65 and that's £50. So it costs more than what the game's worth. More than that. It's absolutely crazy. And I don't know. I mean, I'm coming to you guys to maybe clarify for me and help me understand as to why I do this. But yeah, basically, like I said, the question is today is, are we crazy? And yeah, why do we collect the manuals? Let me know in the comments why you collect manuals, because I'll be honest with you, I can't give you the answer as to why I do it. I do it because the internet tells me to, basically. and it's costing a lot of money to do it. So, you know, maybe in the future, I'm gonna maybe not be so strict with manuals, because it's going to save me a lot of money. I'm going to be able to buy more games, and in all honesty, you know, even these games up here that I want to display, they're not going to look any different without the manual. It's literally so I can say to other people who are nerds like myself, yeah, they've all got the manual, which is bonkers, really. But yeah, that is today's video, everyone. Just a little conversational thing. Yeah, please do let me know in the comments your thoughts. But yeah, take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.